Hi, welcome to A Life Behind the Bar. This is your host, Niko. In today's episode, we'll be joined by Rebekah Funaro, aka Reba. She's a bartender out of Orlando, Florida. She works in theme parks, and I had the opportunity to actually meet her while I was visiting some of the Universal Studios parks. She is an amazing person, amazing bartender. She has an amazing story, and she was technically born outside of the country. So thank you for joining us today. I hope you all enjoy. So we're on.
Okay.
Reba,
Yes. Hello.
how are you today?
I'm doing good. Excited to do this podcast. We met at Universal, right?
Mhm.
I was bartending that night. That was your wife, right?
Yeah.
That you guys were sitting
Yeah.
together and stuff like that. You guys, you were cute. And I was bartending that night, and you asked me to do a podcast, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "This is crazy." I was like,
Who's
"No
this
one,
guy?
who is this guy?" I was like, "He doesn't even know who I am." Like, I literally just served them like 2 drinks, and he's like, "You want to do a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds like fun." Yeah,
it's kind of crazy because that's kind of like the whole idea of it. It's like I want to be able to get to know the people that work in the industry. We've been doing this for years,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of stories that need to be told, man. Like a lot of experiences, stories, so that we can get people to know about what the challenges that we face every day, the funny, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the great, the
Yeah.
beautiful, everything. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of like just gonna start like going to bars and just going up to the bartenders like, hey, you want to do a podcast?
Yeah, you're gonna meet so many cool people, like so many
I hope so.
because I'll be 100% honest. Like bartending, like at Universal, is so much different than bartending other places that I have and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I definitely like have a lot of history, like being in the restaurant industry. I have been in the restaurant industry since I was like 17 years old, and
Yeah.
I'm 30 now. I'll be 31 in May, and my parents owned a restaurant. They owned a barbecue restaurant.
So you just kind of like got raised by the industry. I was molded by it.
Yeah.
Like Bane from Batman.
Yeah, right. But like, I was working in the kitchen then. They didn't have a bar or anything like that. You know, obviously I'm 17 years old. I can't drink, or anything like that. But it was
Drink.
but like, that's really, really where it first like started was like my parents' like restaurant and stuff like that. After that, I worked at a dive bar in downtown Portsmouth in Virginia.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I had so much fun working there. It's called Longboards. I ended up becoming the bar manager there too. I moved up pretty fast. It was kind of like a revolving door almost, and like I was one of the ones that wasn't part of that revolving door. And that's when like I learned how to like do my counts and like how to pour drinks and like different mixed drinks, and I started experimenting and like all that kind of stuff. And it was like fun. I learned so much there. Like, oh my goodness. Like I was doing like beer orders and like liquor orders at like fresh 21-year-old. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you here? Like,
how did this happen? Like, who put me in charge?
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was kind of like a really like really big learning experience for me and stuff like that. Just because I did like start drinking a lot because I was just like freshly 21 and like it was there. Like it was
the time. It's like, okay, I can drink, I can party. I'm 21, I'm legal, and now I'm gonna rage.
And like it's a dive bar too, so we were allowed to have shift drinks, like customers
You're
buying
doing
us
shots,
like whatever, like all that kind of stuff. And like, but shout out to Longboard still. That was a good place to work. I had a lot of fun, a lot of crazy stories from that place, and the stuff that I've seen just being
good old
there.
dive bars.
Oh my.
So now is that like an area where like there's a lot of military people or something like that? Because that makes it a lot more interesting.
It really does. So actually, the place where my bar was, there's also like 4 other bars around it. So there was Longboards on this corner, there was Barron's on this corner, then there was like a pizza place that they just built with like this super like updated bar. So it was like kind of like the new thing, but then there was also Griff's that was next to it. And it was crazy because like that corner that was right there, every single bar had a girl that worked there that's name was like Rebekah. Because that's like, I go by Reba, but that's like my biological name is Rebekah. So it's like the Rebekah corner. Like everybody would make a joke about it. Like, oh, we're going to go see the next Becca. Oh, we're going to go see the next Becca now, and stuff like that. And like, when the shipyard was right next to our bars and stuff like that. So like there would be like a time for Christmas and stuff like that where the shipyard shut down like for
They're gone for like the 2
like
weeks.
It's like 5. Well, I think it's actually a week. Yeah. But like the first shipyard shutdown day, the bar is crazy. The amount of kegs we bought for these guys, like it's $1 beers, like in those little plastic like solo cups, not like not the red ones, but like the white ones that are like not very big, but they're big enough so they'll last it for like 4 or 5 minutes. The amount of kegs that we had to order for that is just.
It's like St. Patty's in fucking December.
Right? And then like you got all these like military big burly guys in there drinking all this beer and
going on leave.
Oh,
yeah, we're going on like Christmas leave. We're like ready to ramble and drink and just black out. Oh my god.
It was crazy. There were so many people. There was like shoulder to shoulder. Like they had to buy tickets preemptively to be able to go because we like didn't want to like fill up the restaurant that much and stuff like that. But
that makes sense.
Oh my goodness. But that place was like really super cool to work. I really, really enjoyed that. I unfortunately did like start drinking a lot. So like I ended up getting fired from there because I got caught taking a shot behind the bar. And like we were like starting like a new like rule. And like it was so stupid because like
somebody ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah. But like it was so stupid because like I got fired and then like my boss that fired me, like I went back and I watched her take a shot behind the bar and I was just like, that's not nice. Like you just didn't like me being the manager. You just wanted my position type thing. But you know, in the long run, it was a good thing because, like I said, I was like going down a path I shouldn't have been going down. Like that, like as much as I learned,
it's like a wake up call.
Yeah, 100%. It was like definitely a wake up call. Like my dad actually like came and picked me up for like my friend's house because I was like just like camping out there, like just like grieving the fact that I got fired for taking a shot, and I was just like, this is so stupid. Like, and my dad like,
at the end of the day, you can get another job. If you can bartend there, you can bartend anywhere.
Exactly. My dad like came and picked me up, and he was like, so what are you gonna do now? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what to do, Dad. And like I was like I said, I was going down some path I didn't need to, so I definitely was like recovering like from drinking so much, you know, from being there. But like I ended up working at an Italian restaurant where I was just a server. I decided like bartending probably I needed to take a break from, just so that way I wasn't like, I didn't have that temptation there and stuff like that. And so I started working at an Italian restaurant. Oh, their food was so good. So good. Like traditional Italian. Like my boss, like he was like a total like.
And they smoosh you with food. Like I've worked at an Italian restaurant as well. And they're like, hey, here, food. I'm like, dude, like I just ate. Like, stop.
100%. Such like a Italian meatball dude. His wife was the most precious little lady ever. They're both like, you know, like he was like tan just from going to like the sunbathing place like right up the road, you know, and stuff
with the
like
gold
that.
Chains.
Yes.
He made it out of the mafia just in time.
But his dad also owned part of the restaurant too, and like they ended up opening another restaurant called Elena's, which is in a different part. And so his dad would like run that one and he would run that one. But I actually would like bartend over there, but the bar was like so much smaller, and like, you know, they had cameras they were watching. I was like, it was a lot different than like the dive bar. So that's like when I kind of like dipped my toes back into it to get back into it. But I was mostly like serving and stuff like that, which was really, it was fun. It was fun. That old Italian guy, oh my goodness, the old man. We would walk around and like if we broke a glass or anything like that, like you would hear him in the middle of the restaurant and he would go, $5.99 out your paycheck, honey, $5.99. And I'm like, because I broke a plate. I'm like, it happens. It's okay. But he was crazy. I love him. He's great. He's a great guy.
Like especially like the Italians, they're interesting, like super strict and like amazing to work with, but they're also like, they don't give a shit. They'll tell you how it is. That's it.
They just care about their money and that's it. They don't want anything else that has to do with it or anything. I'm trying to think.
So
like, yeah, like I feel like it's just like I have so much like history. Like it's just like I've either been like a server, I've been a bartender, or like I went to culinary school. I've been a chef.
I do know that about you. You did mention. I remember when we were at Universal because you know, the bar where you work at Universal is usually like that spot for us. Like me and my wife go to Universal. We've had passes forever, so we go there at least once a month. And one of the things that we do is like, I'm a huge fan of the wings there. So
Really?
like I legit go there like, all right, we're gonna go try a different restaurant today. And at the end, like we're super tired. We're like, fuck, we've been walking around all day and this. And I was like, so we usually go there and we get the same thing. We get the nachos and we get the wings because it's like just the perfect amount of food for both of us.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of like go home and I just pass out. But it's the day I remember I was talking to you. I was like, hey, so like I got this going on with the blog and I'm doing the podcast and I love to have you on. Like, I want to hear your story. You seem really cool. And then you were like, well, I was also a chef. Like I started as a chef and this. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, because it resonates with me in the fact that I actually worked in a kitchen before. I kind of had like my first steps into like culinary in the culinary world and like going to culinary school and stuff, but it was a little relatable. However, you did go a little deeper with the chef thing, right?
Yeah.
So where do you go to school at?
So I went to the Culinary Institute of Virginia. It's a very small school. It's nothing like CIA or Johnson & Wales, like those ones. And I loved it. The teachers there were so amazing. So I went to culinary school there, and and this was in Virginia where I lived previously. And after the inn, you have the opportunity to do like a internship somewhere at like different like restaurants and stuff like that. And like one of the opportunities was the Disney College program. So I signed up for it and I did an interview with the chefs and I got accepted. So I came to Florida as a chef at the Disney College program. I worked at the Contemporary Resort. What is now Steakhouse 71. It was the Wave previously. And oh my gosh, I love the kitchen. But at the same time, like I've learned like that you can apply it in other ways. But anyways, the kitchen at Disney was like beast. It's so crazy. Like the plates that we were plating, like the dots and the swooshes and making sure like everything's on there perfectly. And it was such a good experience. I learned so much and like things to apply to like bartending, which I told you when we were talking before we started that I ran a Mexican restaurant for a little bit.
That's where your Spanish comes from.
That is where my Spanish comes from.
They teach you all the bad words, huh?
Yeah, and like the kitchen words, Yeah, I know some pretty raunchy words. They thought, I feel like it's why is it so funny when white people say bad words in Spanish? I don't understand.
Listen, I do it to my wife all the time, and I love it. And like she's trying her hardest to work in Spanish, and like honestly, I'm really proud of her for that. But it goes both ways. Like honestly, like it's really funny when somebody that doesn't speak English says words or like mispronounces. Like my wife gets me hell for it all the time. She laughs, but she just kind of like giggles. So she doesn't say anything. She just giggles, and I'm like, I said that wrong, didn't I? And but I'm the same way. I'm just kind of like, say this in Spanish. She's like, no, that's a bad word. I was like, yeah, but say it. And she just says it, and I just kind of like go like, yeah. And she's like, you're just such an asshole.
No, I liked working at the Mexican restaurant because I was the manager, so I got to like make like the bar drinks and stuff like that, and that's how I got back into like the front of the house aspect of it. But I was applying my culinary knowledge to like the bartending side of it. Like we had a spicy jalapeno margarita, and like instead of just like using like fresh jalapenos and shaking it, I actually made like a jalapeno water. So like I cooked down the jalapenos and I added sugar so it had that sweet and spicy flavor to it. And then I blended like the whole jalapeno so you had like the seeds in there. Yeah. And it was so good because like it wasn't like just like, oh, this is spicy. You got like the flavor and the sweetness and all that kind of stuff. And like it was just cool because I got to like use my culinary knowledge from culinary school to be able to apply it to bartending. I made like one of our well-known margaritas was the Winter Garden margarita because it was in Winter Garden, Florida, and because Winter Garden's known for oranges, so I made an orange creamsicle margarita. It was frozen, and then I put toasted coconut on the top of it and floated it with Grand Marnier. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
That does sound pretty good, and I'm not a fan of margaritas, but that sounds amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
That's one of the things that like you were able to introduce that knowledge that you get from like culinary arts school, from like working in a kitchen, like all these extra steps. But not only you don't really make it more complicated, you actually take that, because the whole thing about the kitchen is that you have to simplify things and like streamline things in a way that makes it work efficiently. Otherwise you can't create a French menu and like not work if and not try to like make you're using those skills into the bar and translating that knowledge into like making these amazing
Mhm.
drinks without like having to go overboard and like complicating things to like actually making it even more efficient. Like you said, instead of like having the actual jalapenos, like I made this jalapeno zero, but it's gonna taste way better and it's already made. It's like already saving me time. So whatever.
I won't lie though, I was that manager that made my bartenders squeeze fresh lime juice for our margaritas. There's no bottled lime juice in that restaurant. Makes a difference. The
Yeah.
flavor profile is totally different.
Yeah, because once the lime juice sits there for a little while, like it
Yeah.
starts changing. It's kind of like an avocado. If you let it sit, it's a mess.
100%.
Yes.
100%. No, but I really, really, really enjoyed working at that Mexican restaurant. I learned so much, not even just Spanish, but like applying my culinary knowledge to the bar drinks, and being able to pull this from this and this, the different cultures, and all that kind of stuff. And I really, really enjoyed working there.
Because you have like a world of flavors. Like Mexican cuisine has a ridiculous world. Like the flavors that you can get out of like the Mexican cuisine is so underrated. Like we don't really have good Mexican restaurants everywhere. Like we see some of them and stuff, but like when you look into like how much potential is there, oh my god, like the spices, everything.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I really hope that Miss Bertha Aguilar, Doña Bertha, hears this because she is the best chef that I have met. She does like it's like homey Mexican food, and
like grandma food.
I'm gonna tell you, she used to make like this like pot of like medicine, like when COVID like was like first like ending, but it was still like present, and it wasn't like we were like first opening the restaurant. We were having like a big influx of people coming in. She would like make this medicine with like oranges and limes, and she would put like aspirin in it and like melt it all down and like give you this tea. It was like this tea, and I was like, and whenever I would feel like sick, I was like, "Don't, Miss Bertha, I need you to make your tea for me. I need it. Like it's so good, and it makes me feel so much better." And it's like some secret recipe she would never tell you. It's the same thing with her
grandma.
Same thing with her beauty salsa. She went to Mexico and she left me with the restaurant for 2 weeks. She said, if you run out of birria salsa, you run out of birria salsa. I will never tell you the recipe. I was like, and like at this point, we were like blowing up on TikTok because of our birria at this time. And like, it was like crazy. I was like, how are you leaving me with this? And I was like, I can't. I was like.
And it's not like protectiveness of like the Latina grandma and the Latina mom. Like my mom, my grandma, like she never really, like my grandma taught me how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very like particular about like the way she did things, and she would like hide her little secrets. Like she wouldn't like just give them away until like I was of age and I was able to. And I kind of like continue with that. I'm more like sharing, like, listen, I want this knowledge to be passed on. But they have that thing. It's like a cultural thing.
It's like it's mine. It's mine. I don't want to
like,
give it to anybody.
My kid. It's like my baby. It's like no.
Yes.
And that's like the Latina mom. That's
I love
like
it.
Ingrained in them.
Oh, it's like I said, that's a very good Mexican restaurant. It is. You should go. It's not called. It's so like when I ran it, it was called it's called Fruta Mix, but now it's called Tacos and Tequila. It's in Winter Garden, and I'm gonna tell you, I try other Mexican restaurants, and I will always go back there to eat.
I'm gonna go and find Miss Berta and be like, Miss Berta Aguilar, Rivas amigo here. She told me you make the best beer. I'm gonna stop by.
Please do. Oh my gosh, their margaritas are good too. Not as good as when I was there though, but don't tell her I said that.
Oh god. Well, you better hope that she doesn't see this.
I know, right?
So you were telling me that you were from Turkey.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. So that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was born in Turkey. My dad was in the Air Force. I literally it was during Desert Storm. So I literally was just like born, and then my mom and I got shipped back over on a plane because of Desert Storm, and we ended up in Georgia with my mom's parents. So like I don't remember like anything. Like I'd have no.
Hey, you got the cred. You were born over there. You were imported.
Yeah, my birth certificate says certificate of birth of abroad. Like it says like Turkey on it. I could have had a dual citizenship when I was 18, but. You're 18. I was like, when am I ever going to go to Turkey? Like, but now I'm like 30, almost 31, and I'm like, why didn't I do that? I could have had a dual citizenship. I could like, just go visit whenever.
You
So
still can do that though, because you don't really require a visa with the U.S. passport.
yeah,
So
I
it's not
guess
too
you're
bad.
right. I
Like
need
I
to get a
have,
passport.
like
I
I
don't
have.
have a passport.
What?
I know, isn't that crazy?
It baffles me how many Americans don't have a passport and then just kind of like they overlook the importance of having a passport. Like I've had a passport since I was a kid, and I was in Colombia, and we are required to get visas pretty much everywhere. And like the moment I became an American citizen, like the first thing I did was just like request my passport, like immediately.
I
I have
believe
two
it.
passports.
I'm like, that's not the first time I've actually heard anybody say that to me about not having a
Yeah.
passport and being an American. Like, people are like, how, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like you need to have a passport.
You
It's
could,
important.
like, it's important. Like, no, but I would love to go back to Turkey.
That would be nice.
Oh my gosh. The food, I love Mediterranean food. It's so good.
Talk about like a ridiculous amount of spices, flavors, like
Tikka masala, the
God.
pita bread, hummus, baba ganoush. Don't even get me started. That's
Listen,
like my alley.
I lived in New York, and there was like a little few restaurants there that were like from Turkey, like either Turkey or Armenian restaurants or Greek restaurants. There's everything. Like I remember I lived in Sunnyside, New York, and like in every corner there was a restaurant from a different part of the world, and Turkish food was just
it's so
unbelievable. Anywhere, like
baklava.
anything.
How are we forgetting about baklava? Do you like baklava?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
Everything.
you
It's like,
can't not like Turkish food and not like baklava.
but this is the thing about Mediterranean food. It's very similar, but each one of the countries that are like make up the Mediterranean have a different twist on the things that they make.
100%.
But they all are so flavorful. There's so much flavor in it. It's amazing.
I love curry. Curry is my favorite. I love Japanese curry though. It's like warm, spicy, not like curry, like hard,
like overwhelming punch of like.
Oh, and then over rice, so they just put like carrots and potatoes in it and some chicken thighs. Curry chicken is my favorite.
Well, yeah, I love curry. I love curry. I love everything. I wish I could put curry in a drink. I'm sure there's a way.
Oh my gosh, that would be such a good idea. Have you ever used pea flour before?
No.
So pea flour is a type of flour that you can use, and like what happens is when you add a certain acidity to it, it actually changes the color of the drink. Oh. So it will start off blue and then it would turn purple.
Oh.
So like if you're making a drink and you're like pouring it in front of your guest, you can have the base in there, and then like you would pour it over the top of it, and then like the citrus that you're pouring over the top of it would turn the drink purple.
I need to do this. I need to like.
It's called butterfly pea flour.
Butterfly pea flour. I'm gonna look that up.
Yes.
I'm gonna get me some, and I'm gonna make some drinks.
You could even do it like if you just wanted to like brew like tea, like and just like wow your wife and like squeeze some aluminum in there and be like, look at my magic, change the color of your tea.
Houdini over here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I actually did the same thing with hibiscus at the Mexican restaurant. I had a hibiscus margarita, and so what I would do is I would the hibiscus was dehydrated, so I would rehydrate it and like let it seep in like warm water for like 4 hours, so like I could just get all that good flavor out and everything like that. And then what I would do is I would take the dried hibiscus and I would drain it out and like let it sit there and make sure you're getting all those nice juices.
Yeah.
I'd toss the hibiscus flowers and sugar, and then I would bake them in the oven. And that would be the garnish for the hibiscus margarita, and it was like candy.
That sounds good. Listen, we gotta get together and make some concoctions sometimes because
I'm so down.
I will be excited. I got so much stuff. Like I'm building a bar in my house, like a home bar, because one of the things I'm gonna start doing as well with this is I'm gonna start like making some recipes and like trying to get like not my own recipes, but like people's recipes that the people that I actually get to meeting, like, all right, I'm gonna recreate and make a video. I'm trying to like do the best justice I can to it.
I love that.
Or invite him over to have him like do a like, little like concoction situation and try to see what I can do. But I would love to. That would be amazing.
I'm gonna tell you, the next time you come to Universal and you want to pick up someone to interview like you picked me, go to Big Fire. There's a young man there. I can't remember his name. He's like taller. He has dark like black hair. He is amazing. He made me like a tequila old fashioned because like I just didn't really want bourbon, but he made
one of those.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
It is.
I
really
love
good.
tequila. Tequila's my go-to, unless it's Jameson.
No, I'm a bourbon guy.
Bourbon,
old fashions and bourbon, and I'll make all sorts of syrups. Like I've been a kick for like this blueberry old fashioned that I've been making, and I made it for a while. Then I also made like an apple cider old fashioned. I've made kind of like seasonal things like that.
I love that.
And with the blueberries, I just kind of cook the blueberries, make
Like,
the syrup and everything from scratch, and then
yum.
I use that for the old fashioned. It just gives it. And if you really, really want to get there like crazy, just get a bottle of Jim Beam, infuse it with blueberries. If you
There
really
you
want to get that in
go.
there, but
Ooh.
yeah, with the syrup is usually enough.
I actually went to a restaurant. It's called, oh my gosh, I don't think I can remember the name right now. But anyways, I had a peanut butter and jelly old fashioned. So
That sounds good.
they used peanut butter screwball,
Yeah.
and then they used strawberry jam, and then the acid was still the orange, but the garnish on it was like a little mini PB&J that they stick on the end of the toothpick, and they put it in the in the drink and stuff like that. It was super cool. I was like, this is why, like, I think I've gotten to a point now where like I'm not like a divey bar type of person anymore. Like, I want to go out and I want to have like two craft drinks and then like go home and watch a movie. Like,
it's called your 30s. That's what it is. Like, that's the problem. Like, we can't handle the hangover anymore.
Oh my god,
we can't be doing shots.
No,
it's like no.
I feel like I still like be thinking
like
to
we
myself,
want to enjoy our
liquor
drink.
before beer. You're in the clear. Beer before liquor. You've never been sicker. Like,
if you're thinking about that, you're already drunk because you're trying to figure it out. If you remember, you're like, fuck that shit. I'm already in the weeds.
I'm not gonna lie. I still have my nights sometimes where I'm just like, you know what? I was like, I don't have my son tomorrow. I was like, I just need to fucking relax and hang out. I did that actually a couple of nights ago at the bar that we're at right now. I came up here and I had some double Jamesons and gingers, and then took my happy ass home. And my roommates were up and they were watching a movie, and they ordered me some the noodles and company. Huh. Have you ever had that before?
No.
Anyways, I'll tell you about that later. But so we did that, and they had a movie on because we're gonna have a movie night, and yeah, I sat down, ate my noodles, and I was sleeping. I still was just
see.
done.
I don't think like the last time I did like I get drunk was in Savannah, Georgia. It was probably about a year ago. Me and my wife were coming down from a trip in North Carolina. And we were like, let's stop in Savannah. Let's just stay there for the night. We ended up staying 2 nights because the next day I had such a bad hangover. I was like, I ain't fucking driving. Like, I was dying. We went to like a bunch of different places. We have these scooters. So we're like riding around the scooters, like going from place to place. And then we found this dive bar, like hole in the wall. And they were playing like all this like pop punk music. Like they're playing like My Chemical Romance. They were playing like Blink-182, Sum 41. Oh, yeah, dude. And we're drinking, and like I'm screaming, like singing at the top of my lungs. The bartenders are cool as shit, and it was packed. I got so white girl wasted when we got out of there.
Did you cry though?
I didn't, but I was dancing in the middle of the fucking street with a scooter, and my wife was also like, something was watching over us, and then we ended up going to a hotel the next day. I woke up and was like, let's just get another night. I'm fucking moving. I can't. I'm dying.
Those are like literally the worst.
Oh god, I can't anymore. Like I used
can't
to
do it.
In my 20s, I used to work the bar, and I'll get out of the bar and like get wasted, and then get up the next day like, yeah, let's go fucking do it again.
Dude, I used to work. I would go to Miller's almost every other night when I was working as a Disney chef, and I would get trashed. And I'm not proud of it, but I did say I would. We drove home, and that's so irresponsible, but I would be drunk. And tequila shots, however many, I think I would do a tall pint of beer, and for every tall pint, I had 2 shots of tequila. Yeah. I remember working the hotline one day, and my sous chef came up to me, and he was like, Reba, did you go out last night? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, because you smell like tequila still. And I was just like,
I'm not even drunk anymore. I'm good.
I'm just sweating it out on the hotline, chef. I'm sorry.
It's all coming out.
Like, how did I used to do that? I would go to sleep at 5 o'clock, wake up at 12, and then go work the hotline?
Dude, like nothing. Like nothing.
Like nothing. And now I'm like 30, and it started for me like 27, 28, though.
I have to be off. Yeah, like my bad hangovers started like at 27. Tequila. I think that tequila just ruined my body one night, and my body was like, fuck you. You ain't doing this shit again, because if you do, I'm gonna make sure you're sick as shit the next day.
How do you feel about Rumplemints?
Oh God, no. Oh God, no. No. So I have a whole thing about.
Wait, I have to tell you something first. So I have a friend. She's Puerto Rican, and you know what she calls it? Vaporu.
Vaporu, because it smells like fucking Vaporu. Like vapor rub.
Exactly.
It's a Vaporu. That's how we call it in Spanish. Yeah, put some Vaporu on your chest for your cough. If you're sick.
On the
Put
bottoms
Vaporu,
of your bottoms
the
of your feet.
behind your ears.
Oh, you're sick. Here's some Vaporu.
Yeah, Vaporu. What
makes
is
it
it?
make
Like,
it
no,
better.
mom, it's food poison. It will make you feel better. It will help, but whatever. It cures everything.
Oh, she says it
God.
all the time. She said, Reba, I want the Vaporu and a Corona.
Oh God, no. I have this whole thing about like
Yeah, so Rumplemans.
Rumplemans being like a drink for people that stop giving a fuck in their life. So like the stages of man, like drinking stages of man is like when you're 18, you're buying like cheap vodka because that's all you can afford. And then when you're like in your 20s, you're not in college, so now you're trying to impress the girls, so you're buying like Grey Goose and trying to like like get out of college. Now you have a job, so now you actually can afford, and you maybe drink a martini because you think you're like fucking sophisticated and whatnot. You get married, and now you gotta watch you're getting a little fat, so you gotta watch your lines. So you start drinking Tito's and soda because you want to make sure that your wife doesn't leave you for a college hunk. Eventually, you get divorced. You're paying alimony. You have to drink vodka on the rocks to make it count because you didn't want to water it down with soda because you gotta get your buzz, but it's still kind of like, hey, you know what? Like I gotta pay child support. I gotta pay alimony, and then these guys, lost his hair, lost his house, but his kids went to college, so he doesn't have to worry about paying child support anymore. His wife got remarried, so he doesn't give a shit anymore because he doesn't have to pay for it anymore. So now he's got a little money, so he gets a condo on the beach right by coconuts, and he starts chasing 20-year-old girls and doing shots of Rumplemans because he doesn't fucking give a shit anymore. And that's the stages of drinking of a man life.
I love that, and I just love that bartenders have preferences on like we're judging you depending on what you order.
Oh yeah, like
100%.
What you drink tells about a lot about your personality and who you are. Like, watch out for the guy like smoking Marlboro Reds and drinking Miller Lite or Bud Heavy, because that guy is gonna beat up his wife in the other side of the bar.
My favorite is the guys that come in that it's like the new hipsters like that drink like the PBR and the Jack Daniels, where like the Jack Daniels is out of their budget, but they're too like bougie to drink the well whiskey, and then they drink like the tall boy PBRs. Yes. You know what I'm talking about? I love those. Those are my favorite. I had what happens to be one time.
I feel like a rock star. And like I think I'm like not Mick Jagger. What's his guy from Aerosmith?
Oh my gosh. What's his name? Oh my goodness.
Steven Taylor.
There you go. Yes.
Steven Taylor, or like
they have like the mullet, like the long like mullet, and then they wear
like a flannel.
I can't say anything because my pants are rolled up right now, but they wear their like pants cuffed with like the Converse or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, I've probably fallen for a couple of those guys back in my day, but you learn your lessons.
It happens. We all make mistakes, We all get drunk. We all have an extra shot of fucking whiskey.
I was about to say, we're gonna have an extra shot of whiskey, or we're gonna have an extra shot of Rumplemans.
It's like you wake up in the morning, you're like, I should have not taken that last one. You're like, oh shit, no, not this guy, not this girl. Fuck, well, fuck it, whatever. You just move on at that point.
Gosh, those are like, I'm trying to like. I was like.
But that's one of the things about like being in the bar and in the industry. Like, there's a lot of people that don't get to see this side of us.
Oh
like, we go out just like everybody else. We party just like everybody else.
I feel like we can party harder than some of our regulars. I've seen some regulars go under the table.
I got some regulars. I'm like, I don't know how this motherfuckers do this every fucking day.
But the regulars that are there every day, I look at them and I'm like, where's your home? Where's your bed?
Well, yeah, like how do you get regulars where you work? Because your place is like a very touristy.
So place. I actually just found this out. So there are actually regulars at Universal. There's a gentleman that works behind the bar with me. His name is Brian. Also would be a great person to interview. He's amazing.
Just bring him, send him over. I'll be happy to talk to him.
I love Brian. He's amazing. He has such a bartender mentality. He's just like burn tables, like flip it, how to work faster. Like he's a great person that I learned from already from that. But he has regulars that come into Universal, and I've been learning that now that there are regulars that come to Universal and stuff like that. And I was like, I never thought that you could have regulars at like a theme park bar like that or anything.
It's kind of hard because
you do. But you do. And I actually, since I've started bartending, because I started at Universal as a server, and I just got cross-trained over actually as a bartender like 2 months ago now.
Oh, I got you just fresh out of the oven.
I know, right? But I know the story still. I know how it all works. That's why the bartenders like me. That's why they wanted to pull me, because they know that I'm just going to do my job and go home. But
you don't have to worry about it.
I actually had some regulars at the bar. She drinks they both drink martinis. One of them is extra dirty and one of them is extra dry. And I was just like, they actually came in, they ordered the same thing, a pretzel and a turkey club with cheddar cheese and tater tots. And it's always the same thing. And I've learned that now. There's another couple that comes in, 2862 IPAs. If they come into the back of the restaurant, just go ahead and pour them. They're going to give you $40 and they don't want a day change or anything like that. They know that they're going to get their beer and they don't have to wait in line. You know,
that's the thing. That's how it is at the bar. Like I see my regulars come in and they come in. I see them coming in and out of the parking lot. By the time they get to the bar, like they already got their drinks there, and they're happy. And when they bring a friend that normally doesn't come with them, and they're like, "Oh my god, like you guys already like how does he know?" I'm like, "Cause they live here. Like they get out of work, they come here every day. That's how I know what they want." Like, so really, I'm a psychic, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Fuck it, right? His mind. Oh, he's
no. I will say that working like that time I worked at Longboards and stuff like that, I actually keep in touch with some of the regulars that I used to have when I worked there. There's a gentleman named Keith that he keeps in touch with me and stuff like that. And there's another gentleman that we keep in touch. Like I follow him on Facebook. You know, they see my kid, like they see like how much I progressed. You know, and they're so supportive and stuff like that. And it's just cool that was I was like 21. I'm almost 31. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've still been keeping in touch with me and everything like that. So like,
it's crazy because they do become in a way more than acquaintance. Like they become truly friends. Like I have a lot of like my regulars from other bars that I worked before, and I still run into them. So every now and then they message me. I have regulars that have become actually close friends. Like I had a couple of regulars that went to my wedding. Like, yeah,
love that.
I was like,
that's amazing.
Like we went from like people that went to the bar to like, hey, I want you to come to my wedding, and they're like, absolutely.
I actually have like a text message from regulars from the Mexican restaurant that I actually go over to their house. I went over to their house one time to watch a fight night, and she just like reached out to me again. I was like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. What are you doing? Where are you at? How are you doing? Like, I'm just like, I love that. Like, because it's like people like that make the job worth the while. Yes. Because like
we do with another portion of people that are fucking pain in the ass. And it's part of the job. We gotta do it.
It is.
But there's some people, you know, you get the
Lordy.
Can I get 4 lemon drops? And then when you're done pouring them, I'm so sorry. Can I get another one? Fucking asshole. Every time, every single time. Like I can't help it. It doesn't.
So one time I had my group of friends came in, and it was when I was working behind the bar at Universal, and they ordered spicy strawberry jalapeno margaritas.
These are your friends? Like,
what are we doing, you guys?
Like, what kind of friends are these?
It is busy, and like we don't have strawberry puree behind the bar at Universal. We muddle the strawberries. Yeah. The jalapenos are fresh jalapenos, and I might have thrown a little bit of Tabasco sauce on there, so you know, because sometimes jalapenos aren't always spicy.
No. Especially like the ones they put on burgers and stuff like that. There's like pickled jalapenos. They're like.
I even said something to them when I got back to the house. I said, "A strawberry jalapeno margarita? Really, you guys? Come on, what are we doing? Why is this a thing? Just order a beer, please, next time." And it was like 8 of them. Oh, but only 3 of them were ordering the margaritas.
No, but still, that's 3 too many.
It is 3 too many. I love you guys, but that shit pissed me off.
Dude, it's like I get the Miami vice. It's like so the bar I work at, it's in a golf course.
Yeah, I want to hear about your bar.
It's at a golf course. So I work at a bar at a golf course, like right next to a golf course. We get a lot of golfers, it's like a lot of like drink slinging mostly. Every now and then I get like cocktails that need to be done, and like especially on the weekends I do more cocktails. I'm working now, so now I'm working a lot less, and I have a corporate job during the day and during the week, and then I still keep my 3 shifts in the bar just because
You're adventuring out into the real world is what people would call it. get a real job. No,
Yeah.
don't you hate it when people say that?
It's a fucking cliche. It's like, and that's one of the things. Is like, dude, like bartending is a real job. I make more money on my 3 shifts that I make in 2 weeks
Ding,
on
ding,
my
ding, ding,
corporate
ding,
job,
ding. There you
and I've
go.
known that. And this is not the first time that I've actually had a day job. Just for several reasons throughout like moving and stuff like that, and like I go to school for mechanical engineering. Eventually I want to do that.
That's
But
awesome. Good for
bartending, being
you.
a server, is a real job.
100%.
And the problem with the industry is that you don't have the ability to have a retirement unless you're really good with money. You don't have the ability to have benefits like health insurance, things like that. A lot of times when you're gonna buy a house, like, or you're gonna get a credit to make a huge purchase, people look at you like, okay, I know you make more money than the 3 other applicants that I have for loans. However, it's a bartending job. So it doesn't really provide that
The
stability.
consistency.
And so it makes it harder for you to actually buy a home or have like more financial stability or be able to buy a car or get a loan or, things that like a corporate job will give you that
100%.
pays you half of what you will make at a bar. And that's a problem. And that's one of the reasons why I am trying to like, eventually I don't want to be a bartender for the rest of my life. I mean, maybe when I
100%.
retire, I'll put in a little corner bar where I can seat 5 people in the bar and just make enough just to break even and
Yeah.
just so that I can pass the time and talk shit to people. And that's probably what I'll do when I retire. But honestly, it comes on because when you have kids, there's all responsibilities. Now you got to think about like health insurance. You got to think about like, trying to make some stuff in. However, bartender provides you with that flexibility for schedules where like you can actually work around the schedule a little bit more, especially if you have a kid, especially if you have some functions, you just got to get a shift covered or switch or anything,
100%.
which is great. But the other aspect, that financial stability and that benefit, is lacking in the industry. And that's why a lot of people end up kind of like
Leaving,
leaving, because the older you get, you're like, okay, I gotta start thinking about like what am I gonna do when I retire, or what am I gonna do when like if I get sick, or like what happens like if you have an accident and you like injured your leg or you injured your arm, then you're done. You can't even work anymore, and like what are you gonna do? So you need to be able to have another set of skills.
100%.
And those are things that the industry, you're fucked. Like workers' comp in the industry is not a thing. Like if you get it, you're not gonna get 10% of what you actually
Oh my
make, and how are you
gosh.
gonna pay your bill? So all of those things are things that I need to that are taken into consideration when like I was like, you know what, I need to start. And I know you're a single mom,
Oh, yes.
so you definitely understand
My little
this.
nuggie.
Little nuggie. So how is being a single mom in this industry?
Ugh, it is hard. It is hard for sure. So I have my son Monday through Fridays. I got a babysitter tonight so we could hang out, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I need to do my own little thing.
Yeah.
But I work PM shifts normally, except on the weekends, because that's how it works at Universal. Like you have to give it like full available. Like if you're full time, you have to give 5 days. Yeah, 5 days. You have to do 3. I had my 3 p.m. shifts, and you have to give availability for 2 a.m. shifts. Like it has to be like a give or take type of thing. So I work the PM shifts on the weekdays. So I have him from the time he wakes up in the morning until the time he takes down for a nap. And my roommate actually is the one that watches him for me, so that way I can go to work, and then his dad picks him up in the evening and then spends the night with him. But if I'm working and I go in for a 5 p.m. shift at Universal, we don't close till either 11 or 12. So that means with closing, depending on which section I'm in, if I'm a closer, if I'm not a closer, depends on what time I get out. Because restaurant industry, you never know what time you're going to get out or anything like that. It's not a thing. What time?
Nothing's certain. Yeah. Nothing's certain in this industry.
So sure. I mean, if I have to pick him up from his dad's house, that's like at 6:45 in the morning. Like I have to get up to pick him up at 7:30 after working a shift from 5, and let's just say earliest 1. That's not a lot of sleep, because I'm not going to let the man win. Like if I come home, like I'm going to want to take a shower. I might want to drink a beer. I might want to watch a TV show. That's like at least an hour and a half that I do need to have that time to myself to decompress, and then I got to get up, and then I got to take care of him. And I wouldn't change it. It actually has given me, being in the front of the house, instead of being in the back of the house, it's given me so much more time to spend with my son, because I don't have to go to work until 5.
Yes.
But there's going to become a time when he has to go to school. So
now you're gonna have to adjust to
how
that
am I going to have
schedule.
to switch that schedule? But then with Universal, like when you're saying how the restaurant industry doesn't have insurance and stuff like that, Universal actually, if you're full time server, bartender,
Everybody gets insurance.
you get health insurance.
Nice.
You get time off. You get vacation time. You get sick time.
So that's why you normally tend to see people that are older working those type of restaurants,
Yes.
and because that has that stability, they provide that stability for that. Because
Mhm.
that's one of the things that I noticed on like most of the restaurants in within the parks, and like you see older people. I'm not talking about like 80-year-old people,
No,
but I'm
yeah.
talking about like people like us, like they're in their 30s, their parents are like in their 40s. You can
Mhm.
still see some people in their 50s, and you're like, there's gotta be something going on. And but if you go to most of their bars, a lot of places when you don't see that, you start the 30s is when people in like dive bars and things like that start going into becoming a realtor
Yep.
or going for nursing school
Yep.
or going for some other stuff.
100%.
And some of these things, and like those are like
Yes.
the stereotypes. But
I mean,
yeah,
it's true though. It's
but you tend
true.
to see like a younger generation working those jobs because they don't really have they're trying to get themselves to college, or they just don't really know what they're doing right yet, and they just kind of like need to make some money. And it's a great way, and it's part of the industry. But that's why you're able to see these things in with places like Universal or Disney, where you're able to see like an older thing. And like I feel like if we had that more across the
Oh my
spectrum,
gosh.
this will be a viable career.
I would prefer to work at a dive bar or even a place like this and know that I have that security like I have at Universal, just because like the volume of numbers that I'm doing is insane. And like you said with like the regulars, like that's part of the reason why I like this industry, because I do build like relationships. I get to meet new people. Like I got to meet you, like,
Yeah.
and that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a bartender.
Yeah.
Or a server or anything like that. And like if the only reason why I look to these like big companies is for that security, even though that this might be like something that I am passionate about and something that I want to do, like not for the rest of my life. I do want to open my own restaurant, but like it would be nice to have that on the outside world because it is a real job.
Yes.
We have to deal like the serving, bartending. You have to the amount of stuff that's going through your head, like, okay, this table needs ranch. Okay, this table needs a Coke. This table needs this. Oh, I gotta go get that table. I gotta go roast 6 silverware.
Like from a human resources point of view, if you're a recruiter and like, and I've done this in interviews, but like I have had like work in like job interviews. As a matter of fact, I talked about this when I got my past 2 jobs that I've had that are not in the industry. I've talked about this. They ask you like, oh, so how do you work under pressure? I was like, dude, like I worked at a bar when I'm 4 deep. Like obviously not with those words, but I can usually see like, listen, these are the skills that I've developed working with people face to face, de-escalation techniques, because you have to de-escalate people when they are like, you're dealing with unreasonable people. You're trying to achieve maximum customer satisfaction. You're multitasking. All of these little skills, people don't really think that you actually acquire that from like being able to work under stress when you work in a kitchen or you work at a bar and you're like balls deep to the wall. If you get too stressed out and you get overwhelmed, you're gonna crash and the whole place is gonna crash. Like you're not gonna be able to get drinks out of the bar. Now you have to be able to learn how to manage stressful situations. Now you're doing that, and now you're
100%.
throwing a guy that's trying to fight another guy, and now you're throwing a girl that's trying to like pass out on the bar, or you try all these things together. You cannot tell me that a bartender is not good at managing their stress, at least within the job. Outside of the job, we're a whole fucking shit show.
Oh yeah, that don't even like what is life? We
Yeah.
don't we can organize our brains and work, but once we step out of that door, clock out, we're scrambled eggs up in there.
Yes, like
we
we
still a
can
good
handle
time.
it while working. Don't worry about what happens after, okay? We're a complete wreck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, the restaurant industry. It's such a beautiful thing. It really is. Like
Yes.
it can be, and it sucks sometimes. Like we were talking earlier, like the customers that just do it to do it, like that just like are like. I hate to say it like this, but it's almost like they like sometimes I feel like they look at me like I'm like their like servant, and like that's like I'm not even a person or anything like that. Like I was at Universal Property and there was a server and she was serving this older white family, and this gentleman dropped his napkin on the floor, and he made her get on her hands and knees and pick up the napkin and then bring him a new roll of silverware. And I literally was watching that happen, and I was in my chair,
Like, where's the manager at this point? Because if
and you know what's funny? It was the manager. The manager was the one that was serving.
Oh,
them.
absolutely not.
Right? I walked up to her, I called her over to the table, and I was trying to hand her $20, and I was like, "Girl," and I was like, "I literally just saw how they treated you," and I was like, "That is so rude."
And that's one of the things
This is
about
not a fine dining restaurant. This was
and
like
even
a
if it
pub.
was, even if it was, like, it's something that should not be allowed to happen. I feel that after the pandemic, that has changed a little bit, where restaurants have been a little bit more encouraged to stand up for their employees. Like,
Yes.
I don't care if you leave a bad review. I don't care if you go and rent, or if you're gonna be an asshole, you're getting the fuck out. And that's something that has changed, thankfully. But if that was something like, where's the leadership at this place? Because if I am as manager, I see something like that happening, I'm gonna ask that guy to leave. And I don't care
about your money at that point.
That's it. You're cut off. You're not gonna respect people, and you're gonna treat people fairly and respectfully.
Oh my gosh.
You don't belong in this area, and that's something that should be a thing. But we there's leadership that doesn't care about that. They care more about the review that somebody's gonna potentially leave, and
reviews.
It doesn't matter.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Oh yeah,
it's a double-edged sword. You just don't even know. It's like, I had someone write a review about me once and said I threw their checkbook on their table. I was like, okay. I was like, calm down. I was like, I'm not throwing no checkbooks at anybody. Did I maybe slide it? And then you had a good experience, so why would I throw my checkbook at you? And why would you need to write that in a review?
Because people have too much free fucking time in their hands. That's what it is.
It's
there are times where people have genuine, concerns and situations where they really get shitty service, and I get it, and I think that that's the
100%.
power of it. But there's some people that really just complain for
to get free shit,
just to complain.
Or just to complain, and then the amount of people that complain at Universal is crazy.
Yeah, because they know that Universal, that's the difference between the mom and pop place
and
the corporate restaurant business. Because that we're talking about, they will bend over backwards to
100%
to make sure the customer's taken care of and nothing else matters. The mom and pop place, the owner will come out and be like, "Listen, bitch, you don't like it, go home."
Yep.
Remember that Italian guy? That's what he will do. The Italian guy will come out, "Listen, I'll try to be reasonable. You're going to pack your shit and get out."
Yeah, I've actually had to do that before when I was working at that bar in Portsmouth. And longboards, these two big guys, they're 6'3" probably. And my little self just got up at the both of them and looked at them and said, "You guys can go out on the street and do this, and not in my bar, because I don't want to do the paperwork.
Yeah.
So y'all can escort y'all's selves out. You can do that on the street out there where it's not on my property. Thank you."
Yeah.
So
that's great.
I believe it 110%.
But all of those things, I feel that that's one of the reasons why I want to do this, because I want to be able to bring this into attention to people that are not in the industry. I want this to be heard by obviously everybody that's in the industry, so they can all nod their head fuck yeah. But also I want people that have never worked in a restaurant before, and they have never gotten a glimpse of how it is, that the things that we deal with, and what are the things that we actually have to struggle with, mental health issues, drama, lack of job security, all these things. And we do make great money, and we're for example, at least myself, I'm really grateful to the industry. It's provided me for many, many things, many, many
100%.
years. I mean, my dad owned a bar when I was growing up. He owned a nightclub, and literally were bringing us after school and bring me to his office at the bar, and I will sleep there until they close. I grew up in a bar.
Right.
I can say that I am very grateful to it, because he has always provided for my family one way or another. It has provided for my dad. It has provided for my mom. It has provided for me. Now it's provided for my daughter. But that doesn't mean that we cannot make improvements. I feel like there's so much potential in this industry for improvement. There's a lot of room for improvement for the people that work in it, for the kitchen staff, for the front of the house staff. It's a great place for people to learn work ethics. I would rather have my daughter or my kid work at a restaurant as a boss boy or as a hostess when they're 17, 16, than having them work at a McDonald's when they're just literal machines. They're not really learning anything.
Yes.
But rather, you can actually go work at a mom and pop restaurant and learn things, learn different, learn a skill, get through college. Just do that a couple nights a week or whatever. but it teaches you a lot of different.
It teaches you so much. It teaches you, for one, like, not even like the social skills or like, the quickness or like the readiness and being able to multitask, but like to budget, like, and
Yeah.
money and stuff like that, because there's a night that you could walk in and make $500, and then on the same night, the next night, you make 150 to 200.
And now you're like, shit, it all evens out.
I mean, it does all even out. Like, it all comes out into the end, like, and stuff like that. But like, it teaches you, like, oh, like,
it's like a hunt.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna go out on a hunt. Sometimes you don't get anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you catch that tiger, man. You just fill up the fridge.
It's like those surprising moments when like people open up their wallets and they're like, how much do you want me to give you?
And you're like,
and I'm just like, ugh.
Listen, empty that thing out. Like, why are you asking me this uncomfortable question?
I always like to go to like, I'm a single mom. Like, and I was like, I got bills to pay. I was like, how much do you want to give me? I was like, whatever floats the boat. I was like, I'm here for it.
Like, listen, since you asked, rent's due next week, so you want to help me out with that?
$1,500 right here, right now, please, because the rent is so high in Orlando. But
oh God, I can't even imagine. Luckily, I live beachside, and like we own a home, and luckily we're good. But Orlando, man, like you guys,
expensive.
I don't even know how people live in places. Well, Orlando's not as bad, but like New York City or like California, I don't know if people.
I mean, even right down the road from here, there's like those like condos that are like 12 stories and have like the fancy balconies and like all the like
the
blue lights, and I'm just like sitting here, I'm like, what? And they're like young adults. They're like people that are like would be like my age or something. And I'm like, what did I do wrong in my 20s that I'm not living life like this?
I can tell you. You started doing shots behind the bar. You started doing shots behind the bar. That's what happened.
That is what happened. 100%. You could absolutely call me out on that because I have learned so much from that whole thing.
Listen, we've all done it. I was the same way. Like I think about it, like look back, and I'm like, how much money I was making before, and now I'm like, I could have paid off a house.
I used to pay people's rent. Like, think about it that way. I used to pay people's rent. The amount of times I spent money at Miller's Ale House, I used to pay people's rent.
I used to like have paid for my laundry to be done. Like I used to go to a place and drop on my laundry and pick it up. That's what I had to do. And I thought I was the shit. I was like, oh man, I'm making it in life. And I'm like, why did I spend so much fucking money on somebody making my laundry?
It's oh my goodness. You learn so much. It's okay. That's part of life. It's learning how to manage life.
That's awesome.
Kind of. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Oh, Reba. I'm so glad I actually like went and like told you to like come over and join us because
oh my gosh, this has been great. I've really enjoyed this.
It's like fun. We just like I just want to talk to people. I want to know what you like. I want to know who you are, what your story is, and
I feel like I'm loud though. Like I'm like my
listen,
in this microphone. They're probably gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, she is too loud. No wonder she works in a bar."
We have to be loud.
You have to
bar.
Project your voice.
Yeah, because like, and then we develop this sense of hearing because most of us are partially deaf at this point. 100%. However, something weird happens when like the music is loud. Everybody's talking super loud. Everything's loud. And somebody orders, we can hear that.
Oh, yeah.
But if my wife is talking to me like 3 feet away from me, I'm like, what? Huh? I didn't hear you. Can you say that again? She's like, and it's funny because she's going to like the bar that I work at and she goes and tells me like, how the fuck do you listen to these people orders and you can't hear me when you're like 3 feet away? I'm like, I don't know.
It's called selective
hearing.
Hearing.
Yes. I just tell her that like my brain is trained to hear things in the bar, but everything else I'm just deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of like I just go with that one.
I mean, it's okay. It's just it's selective bartending.
Yeah.
Like the ticket printer.
Yeah. Oh my God, the nightmares. I swear to God, I am going to find that noise and I'm just gonna make it part of the podcast. It's just gonna be like the fake, like the ticket printer.
That would be such a good intro.
Because I have had dreams about that, like nightmares. Like I have had my wife wake up the next morning and tell me, like, you were telling me what I was going to drink last night. I'm like, what?
I've done the same thing. I've been like, I need a grilled cheese and a bread basket for table 26. And
heard.
What? Heard. Okay. Do you say that like in your normal life? Is that just like a thing? I'd be like walking past behind people like in 7-Eleven and I'm like
job
behind
meetings.
corner
meetings. We're like in a Zoom meeting and they're talking to my boss. I was like, heard. And then I'm like, catch myself, like, oh shit. And like my boss knows what my background is, and she kind of like laughs about it a little bit. But it was kind of like,
but there's nothing wrong with that, though.
It's just, oh, heard.
Heard. Got you.
And they're like, huh?
Huh? What? What are we talking about again?
Behind.
Corner. Corner. That's my favorite.
Hot.
Hot behind. Hot behind.
My God.
What is another one that we...
This industry has ruined our brains.
Oh, wait. Oh, 86.
86.
Oh, that's my favorite one. I love to go on the hotline. I told that to my
wife one time.
86 Reba. She's done for the day. She's out. 86er. Write her on the board.
I told my wife that one time. I said like 86 that. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're out of milk or something like that. It was something stupid. I just like 86 milk. And like, she just fucking like, what are you talking about? She's never worked in the industry ever.
Oh, really?
She has no idea. She has the biggest.
Wow.
That's the thing. Like, she has the biggest struggle under like wrapping her head around like the industry's drama. Like, why aren't like people like that? Why aren't like owners like that? Why aren't like managers like that? I was like, it doesn't have to make sense. It's just the industry. It's just the nature of it. It's fucking chaos.
Restaurant drama.
Oh God. Oh,
it's always
God.
Just that. It's just you can just stir the pot so quick. Oh my gosh! And just. Everybody
gets a turn in the barrel. Every single person in the industry. If you work at a bar or a restaurant and you tell me that you try to stay away from drama, it's one thing. But if you tell me that you've never been involved in drama, you're full of shit. You're a big fat fucking liar, and you're probably the one that's causing all the fucking drama.
You're the one that's stirring the pot and making it all. Yes,
because
100%.
There is not such thing as not having drama at a restaurant. It
doesn't exist. Because you have those people that come in and like, that's their drama. Like that's where they can stir the pot and they don't have any repercussions from it or anything like that. And they just say whatever they want to say and they do whatever they want to do. And those people get underneath my skin because I have been in some drama. I will not be one of those people where I say I do not create drama, but I will press some buttons if I have to.
We all been.
Well, I'll say this for one time. This sous chef tried to write me up. I'm not going to say where because
it doesn't matter.
But he gave me garlic parm fries, and there was no Parmesan cheese on them. So my culinary little head in me was like, "Oh, pantry has Caesar salads. There's Parmesan cheese on there. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese." Well, it so happened, Chef was walking over to that side of the station, and he comes up to me. He's like, "What are you doing on the hotline?" And I was like, "I'm getting Parmesan cheese for my Parmesan cheese fries." And he was like, "Well, you're not supposed to be on here because you're not a chef." And I said, "Well, maybe if you guys would make my food right the first time, I wouldn't have to come back here and do it for you."
Yeah.
So he doesn't like me because he knows I'm a chef. And I'm just like, don't. That's one thing I will say that's nice about being in the front of the house is that I do still have that like the back of the house mentality.
It's a whole different thing. So
I know how to like kind of like just like, because they're all guys. They're all guys. So I definitely bat my eyes and I'm just like, "I'm so sorry, chef. Like I messed up." I know how to work around.
How much free food have you gotten from cooks in your life? I'm hungry.
I actually got one of the sous chefs to make me those nachos at Universal with the ribeye on it.
Listen, if you're a bartender and you don't have a deal with your kitchen staff where you have like a little exchange between like food and like favors, 100%. It's like, listen, you're doing it wrong. Like that's the thing. I'm like, go to the kitchen. I'm like, what am I having for breakfast today? And I got you. And I'm like, I got you. And, you work your deals and stuff, and like we take care of each other. We bicker and everything when we're on the weeds, and
it's so much easier at the mom and pop restaurants than at Universal.
Oh yeah,
because the Mexican restaurant, the food, Lula, where are you? You are so amazing. Oh my gosh, she used to make me this like tortilla, and what she would do is she would cook the egg on only half of the tortilla, and then like she would put like queso fresco and cabbage and like salsa verde and radishes, and then she would roll it up, and that was my hangover food. She knew when I was hungover too. She didn't even have to ask. She would make that for me. Oh my gosh, they used to make. Oh, I used to eat such good food there. Yes, a lot. Okay, I was like, first of all, I was like, I don't get a lot of free food, but then I thought about the Mexican
like
restaurant
setup.
I was like, oh, the Mexican restaurant. I used to eat tacos for days. Oh, tacos! I love tacos.
Tacos are life.
Oh, tacos are life, and queso.
Listen. I'm getting hungry. So Reba. Yes. I'm really happy you came in today.
Yes,
This is awesome.
this is great.
We are today at Graffiti Junction. Did I
Yes.
get that right? Because I'm horrible at speaking English.
Yeah, so it's Graffiti Junction in Thornton Park. It's right by Lake Eula. It's a cute little dive bar-ish. They have other ones. There's one in Claremont too, but there's like only 3 of them, I'm pretty sure.
So this is kind of like your little spot. You like it?
I like this place. There's another place that's right around the corner. It's called Bar Louie's. No, I'm sorry. I always get Bar Louie and Whiskey Lou's. It's called Whiskey Lou's. Whiskey Lou's. Old dive bar. Go there. If you live in Orlando.
So if you live in Orlando or if you're in downtown Orlando, Lake Eola area, come check out these places. Check out
You might see
Graffiti Junction. You might run into Reba over here.
Say
just buy
hi.
a drink. Get
I
some
like to make
ammo.
new friends.
What's your favorite drink? What's your shifty?
Ooh,
All right, what's your favorite drink? What's
that's so hard.
But this is the thing. The question is, what is your drink? Like, I know you like margaritas a lot.
I love margaritas. I love tequila.
But after you're 4 deep in the bar, crazy Friday night, you're fucking tired, deal with frat kids all night, crazy Karens and everything, you sweat your balls off and everything at the end of the night. What is that you want to, like the moment you're like, all right, I'm done for the night. I need this. This is what's gonna bring me back to life, like my soul back into my body. What's that shifty? What's that drink after your shift that you crave? Is it a shot? Is it a drink? Is it just a beer?
Well, I will say double Jameson and ginger. In a short class, I like to squeeze my lime. I don't like to leave the lime in there because the lime makes it bitter. Squeeze the juice in there. That's my go-to, like classic-y. But right now I've been on this IPA kick. It's by Voodoo Ranger. It's called Fruit Force or something like that. It's like a fruit punch IPA.
Oh.
So it's not like too like, you know how IPAs give you the like taste in the back of your mouth, like that kind of metallic. It's not like too metallic forward, but it has like that fruit punch flavor still. So I've like that's been my go-to. So whenever I always grab 2 of them because you never know when you're gonna find it again.
So that's what you do. You like, you know, like the equivalent of a guy taking his pants off when like the jeans off when he gets out of work, or like a lady when they take their bra off.
Oh, that's the best feeling ever.
Right, for a bartender, the shifty is that. That's the shifty.
It's gonna be an IPA or actually, you know what I could always go to too is a tall Miller Lite and a shot of tequila. Straight up, lime and salt. If I'm trying to go in, it's either tequila or it's either Jameson.
Nice.
I got a nice mixture of kind of my go-tos.
You like all over the place. I got like IPA over here. I got Jameson and ginger, and I got tequila and like Miller Lite. Because fuck it. Because I feel like getting into a fight tonight.
I know. I forgot that you said that about people who drink Miller Lite in the beginning.
But there's a thing that we do in this podcast.
Okay.
As we talked about, regulars are like part of the family. Sometimes they become almost like part of the staff if they're there enough. Sometimes we get some of the regulars that end up in even of our Christmas parties.
Right.
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
But more than that, like if it wasn't because of them, a lot of the places that we work in the industry wouldn't be there. Like we wouldn't be able to pay our bills. We wouldn't be able to make money. They're the ones that take care of us the most. They're the ones that make it count. So I like to usually like give a little, shout out to a regular. We call it the regular of the week. So if there's a regular throughout your entire career, it doesn't have to be where you work now. It could be anywhere that has either left a huge impact on your life or has done something amazing, or he was just a fucking, joke and used to just crack up jokes and make you laugh and make you like, all right, today sucked, but this motherfucker is making me laugh, so at least I got that going for me. Like, who's that person? Is there anybody that you would like to give this to?
So actually, yes. I actually was like trying to think about it when you were talking about it. I was like, who do I have like a fond memory of that was a regular? And his name actually was Mike, and he actually passed away because of cancer.
Oh.
But he was probably one of my most favorite regulars because he just always had a smile. He was younger. He was young. He was maybe 30 when he passed away.
Damn.
But he always just had a smile on his face when he came in. He wanted to have a good time. He wanted to hang out with everybody. He wanted to talk with everybody. He was also like kind of like my little safety net too. Like, if he was there, I was like, okay, I got someone who got my back if I needed something, and stuff like that. But That's like the first person that came to my head that like definitely left like I want to say imprint, but like a good memories of like, being able to see him, be happy, and stuff like that. And like it was a really good experience getting to see him his like last couple of days. Like, he still came to the bar and see us. So you got to, it was sad but happy at the same time because he was just trying to make the best of it. So like definitely rest in peace, Mike. Like,
all right,
Mike,
wherever you are, man.
Yeah, wherever you are, man.
Hope you're enjoying your drink. You're having a,
Bud Light and bourbon.
Bud Light and bourbon. So cheers, Mike.
Yeah, cheers.
Reba, it was awesome having you today. This was awesome.
This was great. I was so happy.
Weather was perfect today.
Oh, it was
beautiful night in Orlando, and I'm glad I got to meet you. I'm glad, hopefully, I get to see you at Universal.
100%.
I'm sure I'm probably gonna be there next week, hanging out, and I'll stop by and see you and get some wings because I need my wings
and nachos.
Wings and nachos. Reba, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Whew.